Hey guys, welcome back on the channel. Fabrizio Romano here as always to keep you posted on the transfer market. Today guys, as usual, talking about transfers, talking about all the latest. So remember to like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel for all the news regarding several topics, several stories. We opened the day late night, after midnight, telling you about Savinho. Here we go, and Savio is now in London, time for medical test, contract signing as a new Tottenham Hotspur player. Is £75 million plus 10 in add-ons, but 5 of these add-ons are very easy to reach, and so it's considered as £80 million guaranteed plus 5 in add-ons, as I told you yesterday. And then the expectation is for Omar Marmoush to be the next one, because Omar Marmoush has an agreement on personal terms with Tottenham Hotspur. Omar Marmoush is keen on this move. He's keen on this new project at Tottenham, with the possibility to be an important, very important player for Roberto De Zerbi, while at Manchester City he found very limited space under Pep Guardiola, and that's the expectation also for this season with Enzo Maresca. And so this is why Tottenham are expected, probably not today, but in the next days, to close the deal for Omar Marmoush. So there is optimism to get it done. Another exclusive update of the morning is about Axel Disasi, the centre-back, French centre-back from Chelsea, joining Crystal Palace. The deal is done and agreed. The player was having his medical today at Crystal Palace. It's a straight loan with a loan fee, with salary covered, so there will be no buy option clause. There was already a discussion between Crystal Palace and Chelsea about the possibility to include Disasi into the deal for Maxence Lacroix to go the other way and go to Crystal Palace. Then there was no agreement, and now the agreement is in place on a straight loan. Exclusive news, Sunderland have agreed a deal to sign Julian Aoka, midfielder born in 2006 from Antwerp, wanted by the director Kiselfee, and now everything done for Aoka to be the new midfielder for Sunderland. They get their backup for Granit Xhaka, and also a player with a very interesting development to follow for the future. Talking about midfielders, guys, I also wanted to bring to the table the conversation regarding Adam Wharton, because for the English midfielder, super talent, excellent player, the position of Crystal Palace has always been clear in private and now also in public. The manager, Pierre Sage, said he's going to stay with us. He has to stay with us. We want him to continue with the dynamics. He's going to do very well with us, and then in 1 year he can go basically wherever he wants. Obviously, it's going to be in Crystal Palace sense, but closing all the doors to a potential exit this summer for Manchester City was never something really close or concrete, according to my information, because they knew that the player was not for sale. Then, as Man City are looking for midfielders to call for one of the most talented English players, it's obvious, but at the moment there were no advanced or concrete conversations to make it happen, because Palace don't want to sell the player. Then, anything surprising, I'm here to update you on daily basis. We need to talk, guys, about Barcelona, about Arsenal, and about Julian Alvarez. We need to take a minute to talk about Julian Alvarez for one reason. That Julian Alvarez, at the moment, with Barcelona, there are no changes on Atletico Madrid stance. So we know that in the last days, Barcelona have been waiting for Julian Alvarez, but still no change to the stance of Atletico Madrid. So at the moment, no substantial update. What I can tell you is that Atletico Madrid director Matteo Alemany was in London yesterday and in the recent hours to talk about opportunities. There were conversations about Nicolas Jackson, for example, and not only. But talking about Arsenal and Atletico Madrid, what I'm hearing is that there was also a direct conversation between Arsenal and Atletico for Julian Alvarez. Arsenal wanted to understand the conditions of the deal for Julian Alvarez. So a conversation took place. Julian Alvarez is a long-term target since some time for Arsenal. Arsenal were interested in the player already a long time ago when he joined Atletico Madrid. They've always been appreciating the player. So the fact that Mikel Arteta likes Julian Alvarez is not in doubt. And the fact that Arsenal have always been watching this situation of Barcelona and Julian closely, it's also reality. We have to see which kind of position would take the player, because so far the player was never proceeding in talks with Arsenal. So we have to see if now Julián would open doors to Arsenal or not. And then there is the financial element. How much Atletico Madrid want in order to sell Julian Alvarez, because Atleti keeps saying that the player is staying. Arsenal wanted to understand the situation, so there was a contact. Let's see what's going to happen from there. I'm not here telling you that Julián is 100% going to Arsenal, because this depends on the price, on the player position. It's not an easy story, as you can understand, but for sure is one to follow after there were contacts in London with Matteo Alemany involved. So we will have to follow closely this story. Many questions also on the situation of Lautaro Martinez. Talking about Lautaro Martinez, guys, today we have to report the quotes of Inter coach Christian Chivu. Chivu said, Lautaro is our captain. We are going to keep Lautaro with us for a very long time. I'm sure Lautaro is going to stay. So his quotes were something like, I can count on Lautaro for a long time. Then at the end of the statement, Christian Chivu says, Lautaro Martinez, is he going to stay 100%? When asked this question, he said, I'm not going to answer because the market is bastard, but for sure I count on Lautaro Martinez, and what I can say is that we want Lautaro to stay. This was the position from Christian Chivu, and is in line with what Inter were leaking about this story in the recent days. Inter always say that they don't want to sell Lautaro Martinez and they want to keep him the player. They want to keep the player at the club. So we have to see how Barcelona are going to move on this one. If they will submit an official bid, they didn't so far. At the moment, Inter position is very clear. They don't want to sell the player and they want to continue with Lautaro. Christian Chivu spoke in public, so that's the story. For now, we will have to follow the situation in the next days to understand more in terms of striker for Barcelona. Because so far, Barça have been waiting for a long time for Julian Alvarez, but again, so far, still no open doors from Atletico Madrid. More to mention, guys, when we are talking about the possibilities of announcements in the next hours. I expect an official announcement from Chelsea quite soon about the situation of João Pedro, because João Pedro yesterday signed his new contract at Chelsea. Everything is completed. João Pedro is staying, the new contract is done, and the announcement is coming quite soon. Talking about Chelsea and talking about Manchester City, today Enzo Maresca decided not to comment on the Enzo Fernandez situation. When asked about Enzo Fernandez, Enzo Maresca said, I'm not going to comment about the Enzo Fernandez situation because it's not respectful, he's a Chelsea player. But then he also said, I don't like when other managers talk about other players. And that was a message from Enzo Maresca, who I'm told sometimes he saw some quotes from other managers talking about his players, and so he wanted to send a message. But for sure, Enzo Fernandez remains a topic internally at Manchester City. There is still no bid to Chelsea so far, so we have to follow the situation in the final week of the summer transfer window, if something will happen or not. But in terms of active talks, at the moment is happening that Man City are talking to the agent of the player, Javier Pastore. Then we have to see if they will reach out to Chelsea and what kind of proposal they will send. Enzo Maresca today decided not to comment. Let me close with Dominik Livakovic, because it was a story I was telling you here on my YouTube channel a few days ago. And now I can tell you, Dominik Livakovic, there is a verbal agreement, Barcelona with Fenerbahce. 2 million euros fixed fee, 2 million euros in add-ons, potential 4 million euros package. What's the idea of Barcelona? Sign the player now, but count on the player from summer 2027, because Szczesny is leaving, and so Livakovic will be the new backup goalkeeper. So first goalkeeper Juan Garcia, second goalkeeper Livakovic from summer 2027. This is the idea, this is the plan. Then, what's missing in order to close and sign the deal? Barcelona are looking for a club to send Livakovic on loan for this season, to let him play and then return to Barcelona in 2027. We will follow the situation, guys, but remember to like this video, turn on the notification bell, subscribe to the channel. See you soon. Ciao.